I want to tell you about how I met the Jazz Foundation. Now, you remember Sandy, the big hurricane and the whole deal, right? Everybody remembers that, and I live on the Lower East Side, so we got a taste of it. After about 4 or 5 days of that, and the whole deal is dark and everything, and you know, obviously I don't eat much, but I had a craving for chicken that day, on a particular day. And that day, the stores were not open on the Lower East Side, and you had to go up to 32nd or 40, whatever, and I walked, you know. So I walked all the way up there, all the way from down about 40 blocks, and I'm not, you know, a baby here. So I walked all the way up, and, you know, I'm figuring everything's gonna work out fine. But obviously people couldn't go to work because of the trains were stopped, and so I'm looking at McDonald's, I want some chicken, that's all. You know, I mean, you know, when you experience this, life gets like here. They're just important things, the rest is garbage. Chicken was on my mind. So that happened, and what happened is I walked back, total disgust. You know, you can't use cell phones, you can't do anything. The little stores are closed. My mind is closing down. So I go in the house, my little apartment, I hear a knock on my door. I open up the door and there's 5 smiling faces, and they said, well, we came here from the Jazz Foundation. Now listen, if you live in New York and people knock on your door, and they just got a little thing going, I don't care how smiley they are, you're suspicious. Okay. They have peanut butter, they have clothes, they have there, and guess what? 2 roast chickens.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the heart and soul, the Executive Director of the Jazz Foundation of America, Wendy Oxenhorn.
She was part of this, and I experienced love at that time from the people, not only with the gifts they had, but from their hearts. But this is what I got from these people, and my heart is into that we can continue to serve people in need. And
It's not just that we pay rent and keep people from eviction and homelessness when they either have been diagnosed with cancer or they're too sick to tour or someone has an accident. It's so much more than that. We become family. This is a 7-day-a-week gig. You know, when someone's sick, we show up at their house with food and whatever they need. If they need to go to the hospital, we take them. And in those moments where it's the end and someone is transitioning, we'll hold their hand and stay with them till they leave the planet. Most of the people we've helped are probably people you first learned to dance to. It's not just jazz and blues. We're talking R&B, we're talking soul and pop, rock and roll, you know, anyone who made a significant contribution. These are the people we help. When the Katrina hurricane happened, you know, the first thought we had was, we're the people who've been dealing with jazz and blues musicians' crises for so many years. How could we not be there for them now? This is the birthplace of jazz. There are people who had wives and children in shelters that they couldn't find because they were on tour when it happened, and so many people told me about how their instruments were completely destroyed, along with their homes, recordings, original sheet music, memories, collections, things that could never have been replaced. But thanks to you, we were able to rehouse and employ over 1,000 New Orleans musicians and their families, helping to bring New Orleans back. We found even better ways to help this time with the unprecedented historic floods in the Baton Rouge area this summer. And not only were we able to pay mortgages so no one lost their homes, but we found experts to biowash the homes from all the sewage and the toxic waters that ran through them, so there's no more bacteria, and people are not being forced to live in death traps. And this time we're helping them move back into their homes and getting furniture, mattresses, clothing for families that lost literally everything. All a musician ever wants is that next gig.
There was no jobs. There was no places to go to get a job. And Jazz Foundation stepped in and created venues for us to play.
We found that nursing homes are a great outlet as well, especially for older musicians. When we set you up in Jazz in the Schools, you have consistent gigs. You know you can count on it, you pay your rent with it, and bring jazz and blues and live music to thousands of kids across the country each year.
These kids need this. Without the jazz performances in the school, they wouldn't hear anything about this music.
For the past 24 years, we have been able to offer free medical care and operations through our partnership with the Englewood Hospital to over 1,000 uninsured musicians, literally saving jazz and blues.
I remember driving home in tears because I knew that I was going to get a hip replacement, and it was pro bono, everything.
The Jazz Foundation of America is doing a fantastic job in taking care of the very people who gave the entire world this incredible music. I cannot even imagine a world without jazz and blues. And I can't imagine turning our backs on the same people who gave their lives, their life experiences, and their music to us all these years, especially now when they need us.
You get to a point where you've been working for yourself all these years, you haven't had a health plan, you don't have a 401k plan, and you get to a point where one day you slow down or you get sick, and then all of a sudden you don't have that safety net that many of the rest of us take for granted.
Particularly in the case of these individuals who provided so much enjoyment for so many people for so long, they're deserving of our support and help. But most importantly, it just feels good to be a part of it.
I love the Jazz Foundation. This is a group that really throws both love and resources at musicians who have entertained us, who have consoled us, who have brought joy to wherever they went. They've worked hard their whole lives, and lots have fallen on harder times. When they get older, some of them have had trouble. And, Wendy has been an angel, and the Jazz Foundation has stepped in. These hardworking people that have made us happy for so many years don't deserve to be homeless.
This is what you call the blues.
Trouble, trouble, trouble. Trouble just won't leave me alone.
I worked hard. I sure did. I picked up cans out the alley, off the street. I picked up copper, pewter, aluminum, and you name it, whatever I could sell. Oh yeah.
Yes, I was crying. Look at me. I was crying.
If it hadn't been for the Jazz Foundation, I don't know what I could do.